Boom. Hey, we're recording. Awesome. So it's going to be super sweet, super short and sweet. But my goal is to help educate you where, and let me just start over. So obviously you pay me to be your coach, and that is phenomenal. And thank you so much. I love all of you all, obviously. But I know that the plan can be difficult to digest. There's so much going on when you open up the spreadsheet. You open up my email when you become a new client, and there's freaking 10,000 words. I know. I need to figure out how to shorten that up. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So I'm sorry. I know it's a lot. The other. I mean, I could in theory send several emails, but then I'd be afraid that some of them would get stored in spam, and then it would just be hectic. So I understand it's a heck of a lot of information. It's a heck of a lot of information for me to compose and compile and all that good stuff too. So here's the deal though, guys, and I don't get mad, and I don't at all. So if you ever we had a client yesterday ask questions about some high protein options. That's perfectly fine. Ask them. However, if you're a paid client of mine, you're paying me damn good money to help you. And I felt bad, like, man, I'm not doing my job if they have to go to the community first instead of me. And I know that wasn't disrespectful to me by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not saying you can't do that. However, make sure you use me as much as you possibly can. You will never bug me. Missy can attest. Missy's been a client of mine for a long time. And there's been days she's messaged me 300 times, and that's okay. I enjoy that. This is my job. So you're never going to bug me with questions and things like that. So I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to show you a sample meal plan that you all probably have seen something similar to, okay? Now, you will be surprised. So many people do not, seriously, I'm telling the truth here, do not scroll past that pork chop line. Literally, I've had people say, hey, I love your meal plan, but I don't understand how to use it. I just see a lot of protein, snacks, carbohydrates, veggies, and healthy fast food options. Well, you got to scroll down. And as you scroll down, you're going to see your 7-day sample meal plan all the way to the bottom. Okay. And so, you're probably going to wonder is what are all these numbers? Okay. And so for this is a low carb, high protein meal plan. This is an intermittent fasting or keto. This is a standard low carb, high protein meal plan. And so this person probably wants to weigh somewhere around 145 to 150 pounds, or they're, maybe 150 pounds overweight and they're not quite sure. They're 5'2" and they're not quite sure what their goal body weight is. It would look something similar to this plan. Okay. And so every meal, I've already calculated the calories, protein, fats, and carbs within the meal for you. And so the idea is if you follow this plan, like say you take day one and you follow it exactly as it's written, at the end of the day, you'd be somewhere around 100 or 1,600 calories, 123 grams of protein, roughly 60 fats, roughly 137 carbs. That's if you follow it religiously. I'm not asking you to follow it religiously. My goal for you is to help you enjoy food again. Now, for the first few weeks, I would rather you be more strict than not strict. However, as you grow on your nutrition and you're understanding how your body works, and you do want to eat pizza or burgers or something, well, actually burgers, and anyway, you get the point. There's burgers built in, but that's side point. You can start experimenting, okay? And so, for instance, with this one, I was afraid. I think with this specific client, I couldn't go too low on carbs because of some hypoglycemic issues. So for breakfast, we had a protein shake, but I made sure that they also had a whole grain piece of toast with butter, so that way their blood sugar didn't drop too low. Okay. In theory, they could have whatever in the world they want for breakfast. The key would be is to try to find something that's somewhere around 250 calories to make this work. As you notice, it's one protein source and one carb source. So in theory, they could do a protein shake and any of the, so it's a little tricky. Some of the snacks are actually carbohydrates too, but they could do a piece of fruit. They could do they can do some yogurt. Like there's so many different things they can do if they didn't just want a protein shake, right? There's just so many different things they can choose from. So you can choose anything that's up here and replace it with anything here. And what's going to happen if you do it correctly, sure, your calories may not meet exactly 1600 or may not meet exactly 1484. Actually, let me explain that real quick too. Some diets will tell you an expense, like for instance, if you load in the First Form app and you trust their macros, it says, 2,000 calories, 180 grams of protein, yada, yada fats, yada, yada carbs. And that's true. Okay. You can go and just have the same exact calories every single day. But my goal is to have you learn how to enjoy food, not feel like you have to meet specific calorie goals exactly. It's okay if you hit your calorie goal. It's also okay if you don't hit your calorie goal, as long as you don't feel weak or dizzy. And so what I do is I like to experiment with different calorie goals. So you'll see 1600, you'll see 1400, you'll see 1500, you'll see 1400. So with this person, anywhere between 1450 and 1600 is a sweet spot for them. We may learn that 1450 is a sweet spot because they'll be tracking days where they're consistently hitting 1450 and they may start seeing better results. Then we can say, well, maybe we don't want to go up to 1600. Maybe we should stay to 1450. Another thing, all the proteins are right around 120-ish grams if you look all the way up. So this person typically, what I do as a nutritionist is I take their goal body weight and I multiply it by 0.8. So with this person, they probably want to weigh around 150 pounds. So I have them on 120 grams of protein. Now, if you're lifting weights more and you have more aggressive toning goals, we may increase your protein to 1 gram per goal body weight. So you may see 150 grams of protein if you want to weigh 150 pounds. You may see 175 protein if you want to weigh 150 pounds. That's if you want more of aggressive toning physique. So that's kind of where these numbers come from. Is okay, with this person, they want to be around 150 pounds, which would be in the sweet spot for protein, would be somewhere around 0.8 grams, which is 120. So start over. So for them, protein shake, piece of toast. If they didn't want a piece of toast, they could put an apple in. They could do a banana. They could do, instead of a protein shake, they could do low-fat yogurt and add something else that gives them that boost that they stay somewhere around 30 grams of protein, 20 carbs. In theory, if they don't want to have a piece of toast or fruit, they could just do a protein shake, and that would mean they would have an extra 100 calories to eat later. That's fine. It can be a bank. You can use it in a variety of senses. So say, for instance, you're going to have a big lunch. You could just have a protein shake, which would be 150 calories instead of 250, and you could save those 100 calories for later. Like my buddy Chris. I don't know if he's on. I think he's on. I might be picking on him. He stored some calories for later today. So with the snack, again, snacks are optional, but snacks are there for a reason, okay? A lot of us binge eat when we're hungry. And so say, for instance, you eat breakfast at 7 a.m. and you don't get a lunch till 1, that's a long time without any food. And so me personally, if I don't eat a snack, once lunch comes, I'm ravenous. And we have a habit as humans to binge eat more than our body needs because we're starving. And so I do like to implement snacks. Technically, they are optional, but for most people, we benefit seeing snacks in between the meals. Plus, they help us hit our protein goal. Now, one thing I'll go back to, what's on here exactly like 180 calories. Depending on the brand of string cheese or the size of the apple, that could be a little less or a little more. These are just average numbers. They do not have to be exact. Okay, and so going over to lunch. On this day, we have my beef and rice recipe. Half serving of rice, beef bone broth, 4 ounces of lean ground beef. Now, if you use, normally I suggest 96.4 ground beef. If that's the case, the calories would be a little bit less and the protein would be a little bit more. This is just an average. This is if you would use 90-10. Again, you don't have to eat this exact thing. Look, it's a half serving of rice. You could do a half serving of any carbohydrate up here. And so if I go up here and I see that, I'd rather have a potato. Half a potato would be fine. Some whole grain bread. Make sure it's about the same size. Half a serving of quinoa, half a serving of sweet potatoes, half a serving of beans. Any of those are great. So if you don't want 4 ounces of lean ground beef, you can have 4 ounces of anything on here. The beef bone broth is really low calorie, so it's not that big a deal when it comes to actually replacing it. But that would be how I would do my lunch. So, because guys, if I do 4 ounces of chicken breast here and I do a half serving of quinoa and I do maybe a veggie, my calories are going to be almost exactly the same. I don't care as your nutritionist if you're eating chicken or lean ground beef. I don't care if you're eating shrimp or salmon. I don't care if you're eating tofu or whatever it might be, pork. We're looking at a calorie, protein, carb, and fat scenario. That's what our goals are. Okay. And so if you follow the plan religiously, you're going to see great results. But that's not my intent as your nutritionist and coach, is to help educate you on decisions you can make. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. What I would do is say, for instance, on a Friday night, I know I'm eating pizza with my wife and son. Okay. So what I would do is Thursday night, I would start loading in my food for the next day. And I would say, okay, I'm going to do a protein shake for breakfast. That's 150 calories, 25 grams of protein. For lunch, I'm going to be eating let me go ahead and put 4 slices of pizza in my meal plan. So I would go ahead and load that I'm eating 4 slices of pepperoni pizza. Then I can see what I can do for my lunch and my snacks to still hit my protein goal, but still be under on my calories. And you can do it. Now, yes, you're going to suffer a little bit because you may be a little hungrier earlier in the day, but you get to reward yourself with pizza. Okay. But this is also how you would do any type of meal that's not necessarily part of your plan. Missy wants to go celebrate a birthday with her husband. They're going to go to Applebee's. She could look up the menu of Applebee's the night before, figure out what she's having. Oh, I'm going to have the grilled chicken and a big ass baked potato, and I might even have a dessert afterwards. And you could load it into the app, and then you can work backwards and say, okay, what could I have for breakfast and lunch and snacks to still hit my goal? This is how we build the plan, guys. This is our end goal, is that I am your coach. I can help you make changes. I can help you. And again, guys, I have clients. Courtney is on the call. She's reached out to me and say, hey, I'm eating Mexican tonight. Help me. Let me know. This is my job, guys. Let me know. I will help you the night before. Say, okay, let's try to do this, this, and this. And then maybe just have chicken fajitas, a little bit of rice, a little bit of beans, a little bit of salsa, right? We can do this together. It's up to you to decide the level of service you want me to have, okay? And so again, you can follow these religiously. You can just go straight across. You could eat the same lunch every single day. If you want grilled chicken, rice, and broccoli for lunch every single day, then you know you're going to be somewhere around 300-ish calories, 35, 40 grams of protein, and you can then build your plan from there. The key, we're looking at calories and protein for the most part. Now, if you suffer from PCOS or infertility issues or prediabetes or diabetes, then we really do have to control carbohydrates maybe more than we want. But for the most part, I don't care if your carbs are 137, 128, 123. This one had hypoglycemia, so I had to be kind of more strict on the carbohydrates. Like 156 one day, I don't care because the calories still worked out. Whether you go a little bit higher fat, 43, 53, whatever, 55, whatever it might be, the end game is calories and protein for the most part. If we stay under our calories and hit our protein goal, we're going to see amazing results. Calories depend if we go up or down on our weight. Protein decides if we're going to be toned when we get there. That's the importance of protein and calories. If we just focus on calories, we're going to lose muscle, which means we won't tone, and our metabolism may crash because every pound of muscle burns 10 calories. If you lose muscle, you lose your metabolism. That's why a lot of people who focus on calories only crash and had to continually cut calories constantly. Okay, so what questions do you all have for me, and did this help at all? Let me unshare because I can't see anything. Hey, I'm back. Okay, sorry. Did that make sense? Or was it still too complicated? Missy says helpful. Courtney says helpful. Amber, you're relatively new. What did you think? Did this simplify things or did it make it harder?
It definitely simplified things. I do have a question. So like I meal prep on Sundays and I eat the same exact thing all week long. But for instance, for this week, I have my proteins, carbs, and fats all have the green check mark, but I'm like 250 calories under my goal. So if, I do more movement one day and I'm hungry, can I eat something else that's still under my calories, or should I stay to where everything's perfect?
No. So, you got to watch with the check marks too. And guys, that's freaking amazing. I've never had 3 check marks in history, right? I've been coaching in the app since 2017. Well, the app's only been around like 2 years. But long story short, I never hit my calories, protein, carbs, and fats exactly. If you could do that, that's freaking amazing. Why it sometimes doesn't make sense. Normally, if you go check mark, check mark, check mark on carbs, fats, and proteins, your calories should check mark also. The problem is there are some glitches in the app or how they calculate fiber. Sometimes they count fiber. So fiber's weird. Fiber has 0 calories for the most part, but in the app, sometimes it'll see fiber and give it 4 calories per gram. And so if you eat like the keto bread that's got like 15 grams of fiber in it, they'll add 60 calories to that bread when really it doesn't have that extra 60 calories. And so sometimes you'll see the fluctuations where you're hitting the check marks, but the calories don't match up. Okay. That's just a glitch, unfortunately. There's nothing I can do about that technically. Here's my deal about being under calories. If you are dizzy or feel very, very weak, eat more food. I don't care if that even puts you over your calories. Okay. Now, most likely it's not a point where your body's starving or you have any type of like dangerous issue. It typically has to do with blood sugar. Your blood sugar can get a little bit low, make you feel a little weak and dizzy. Eat. Okay. That's the most important thing. Now, if you're just hungry, that doesn't mean you're under eating. That's how our body gets used to eating less than what we're used to. If you weigh 250 pounds, you probably average for a long time 3,800, 3,500 calories. If I take you down to 1,600, you're going to be hungry only because your body is used to eating that many calories. I know when Chris signed up with me, we had to have that little talk a little bit. He was like, holy cow, man, I don't know. Now he's seeing amazing results. And so if you feel weak or dizzy, eat food. If you're just hungry, it's probably water, making sure you're hitting your protein goal, things like that. Okay. So I'm not overly, now, if you're under 1,000 calories, we got to have a talk because that's way too low. Our body needs so many calories just for basic functions like having a core body temperature. That's really important, right? So there's certain things that we do need to watch when we talk about calories. But if you're 200 over on your calorie goal, but you hit your protein goal, that's a win in my book. That's amazing. That's good news. So, Brittany, you got a question for me? Oh, lost Brittany. Nope, her audio screwed up. Oh, are you back? Nope, she's gone. What else questions do we have? Nothing? No questions? So, guys, it's about baby steps. I don't expect you on day one to get 3 check marks. I don't expect you on day one to hit your protein goal. However, it is our ultimate goal. I don't expect it on day one, but I would like to have it on day 8, right? I would like for you to get close as we're going. Karen, good question. With rice, it's based off of dry when it comes to actual calories. And so, for instance, if you're making my famous beef and bone broth, or beef rice and bone broth, you would want to do enough dry rice to measure out to be like a half serving of rice each day. So that would be, I like using a half serving. Some of us can use a whole serving too, depending on our carb goals. So if it's 1 cup is 1 serving and you only want a half serving, that means you would do half a cup of rice for each individual serving. Yes, you can drink your protein. So it's a quality meal replacement protein shake, like Level One or Vegan Power Pro, is a true meal replacement. It has vitamins, it has minerals, it actually mimics the digestion of whole food. Now, I would prefer you to have whole food choices more often than not. I will say that I've had 3 scoops of protein today to help me hit my protein goal because I have been nonstop today and just haven't had time. I've ate 2 meals and had 3 shakes between them or through them throughout the day. So if you have to drink, get it. Okay. And I tell the story a lot. I suffer from mental illness, and many of you all understand this. And so, like, my nerves got shot in November. Like, I had to turn off social media. Like, I stayed in my weight loss group and I made a post a day on Instagram, but I didn't read anything other than my weight loss group. My nerves were just completely shot. I was a walking zombie mentally and physically. However, I still trained every day because I have a regimen that I have to work out. Like, that's just I can't survive if I don't work out. However, I was only eating like 1,000 calories a day. I had no appetite at all. However, I was having like 6, 7 scoops of Formula One a day to make sure I hit my protein goal because that's how important protein is. It didn't allow me to become catabolic, so I wasn't eating myself. I wasn't going to go through muscle wasting, even though I wasn't eating that many calories. Definitely wasn't the healthiest thing in the world, but unfortunately, there are times where you just got to do what you got to do, whether it's work related or emotional related or mentally related or whatever's going on. Hit your protein goal. And it's actually an interesting study. There's a study with bodybuilders who practice Islam who were in the middle of Ramadan, and so with them, they can only eat like 1 meal a day, so they have to fast during the day. I don't know the whole thing. I'm sorry, but they have to fast majority of the day, and so they found that bodybuilders who hit their protein goal, even if it was just in 1 meal, still grew and still grew muscle and still toned. They actually kept the muscle they had. They actually got stronger. They actually gained muscle. And this was true even if they ate 400 grams of protein in 1 meal. These were world class bodybuilders. One of them was actually the winner of the Olympia this year, who weighs over 300 pounds shredded. Insane size. However, that's how important it is. Protein is for retaining and keeping the toned muscle we have. And so if you have to do protein shakes to do it, do protein shakes to do it. Now, I still want to make sure you're hitting your vitamins and minerals. I still want you to optimize gut health. I still want you to focus on things that you need to focus on, but that's okay. Missy has a question. Is 183 grams too much? Probably not. So you take your goal body weight and you multiply it by 1.2. If that equals roughly how much protein you've eaten, you're perfectly fine. You can go actually above that number, but 1.2 is actually the sweet spot. And so if you want to maximize muscle protein synthesis and such, 1.2 grams per goal body weight is actually 1.2 grams of current body weight is fine too. And so if you want to weigh 150, that would be 180 grams of protein. If you weigh 170, that would be okay to go over 200 grams. There's not really a huge benefit of going beyond 1.2 grams per goal body weight or current body weight, depending if you're maintaining or not. Yeah, Tabitha, you're in a sense. Tabitha has a health issue. Unfortunately, she's down, and so it's important to try to do your best. Should you eat 0.8 grams of goal body weight of protein each day? Probably don't have to go quite that high since you're not able to train, but you can do 100 grams would be probably where the sweet spot would be. If you are sick, you have the flu, you have some sort of illness, and you have to take some time off, I would still try to eat at least 100 grams of protein a day. I would not go below that. Unless you're under 120 pounds, then maybe you would go down to like 80 grams. But I don't think we have anybody on here that wants to be 120 pounds. So nobody wants to be that small, unless you're like 5 foot tall. No, Tabitha, you don't want to be 120 pounds. It's actually funny. So now, if you're a new client with me, you've heard me say this. I started saying, I don't make people, oh, you're 5 foot. I didn't realize you're that short. So I now say, I don't make people look like Paris Hilton. And so, because I've had so many people, like, they get so concerned with like being skinny. And like I tell people, I don't make people skinny, I make people fit. Like I want you to keep your curves if you want to have your curves. I want you to grow muscle if you want to grow muscle. If you want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll help you get there. If you just want to look good and feel confident, I'll help you get there. But I don't make people skinny. I don't know how to make people skinny because it just doesn't work for me. I don't want to starve you. I don't want you doing hours of cardio. I want you to enjoy food. I want you to get fit. I want you to get healthy. I want you to enjoy life. But I can't make you Paris Hilton. Of course, now I also have clients that are like 18 years old that have no idea who Paris Hilton is. And that makes me feel bad. Makes me feel very, very old. So, all right, guys. Well, I will let you go. I hope, please, please, please let me know. If you think this was a waste of your time, please, for the love of God, message me afterwards so I know. Because I want to give you all the highest level of service I can. And if I'm screwing up or this isn't exactly what you're expecting, please let me know so I can help you find what you need in life to get where you need to be. So hopefully this makes sense. I'll send a recording. If you missed the very beginning of it, I'll send a recording tomorrow. I got to get it takes forever for Zoom to download recordings and all that crap. And I got to upload them and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, y'all have a good night. You need me, let me know. I'll talk to you soon.